I discovered very early on that drinking made all of that insecurity and anxiety and all that kind of stuff leave. And I could just be the guy.
For me, whenever I've had those kinds of feelings and alcohol alleviates them, the next morning, those feelings are like multiplied.
Yes, 1,000%.
Oh my God, I said this.
There are so many times I was like, I'm going to walk into work and they're just going to be like, you're fired.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you go out after work with the, like,
What did I do?
Yeah.
Or worse, like everybody just hates you. And
Yeah.
I like the idea that everyone's thinking it, though. We're all sitting there being like, what did I do? What did I do? Whoever needs to hear this, everyone does think you fucked up last night. Everyone's mad at you. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to On the Apps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Julian Breheny. I'm a comic in New York City, and this is...
Julian's wife, Robin Richardson. I'm not a comic, just here for fun.
I hate when you say Julian's wife.
I know,
okay?
I was going to bring it up, and I was like, you're a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, you're also your cat's mother, okay? And we are here with our guest.
Oh, hey, everybody. I'm Brennan Tasseff, comedian here in New York City and podcaster.
And Julian's friend.
And Robin's friend as well.
That's true. Julian's wife's friend. That's his full credit.
Listen here. No, I'm not going to do it.
Anyway, we're going to get started. So, how long have you been doing comedy in New York?
In New York, 4.5 years.
Nice. And before that, Florida?
Yeah, I was in Florida. So I started comedy in 2009, went to my first open mic. After my second open mic, for your listeners, I changed all my handles to @BrennanTComedy because I was a comedian now. 2 open mics, and that's what I do.
Nice.
I've always loved comedy since I was 12. I started watching Comedy Central Presents and stuff, and I was a depressed, anxious kid, and I could laugh at this, and I was like, oh, that's crazy that just using their words, these people could make me laugh. So I fell in love with it. I would record it on VHS every Friday, 11 o'clock, and then I would just watch them over and over and over. I stopped playing college football in 2009, and I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I was like, I've always liked stand-up. Let me try that. So I did it, but I didn't really start until I got sober in 2018. Like, I would do a mic here and there, like every couple of months. I would tell everyone I was a comedian, which got me into some rough spots because people would then ask you to come on shows, even though I was doing comedy like once every 3 months.
Yeah.
And then I would just get hammered and do impressions and stuff and run the light. And some people love it, but, it's not a career to make.
We love a light runner. So the whole time, I'm diving into the dating part of it. You dating anyone right now?
Yes, I have a girlfriend now that I love, I live with. Contractually obligated to mention her on every episode of my podcast as well. So it was a weird road getting here, though. I've been engaged once before. I was in a relationship. I don't know if any of your listeners can relate to this, but I was in a relationship where a few months in, you're like, there's no fucking way this is going to work. And then you stay in it for 4.5 years. Oh. Did one of those.
What if you're married, Brennan?
Sometimes you get married.
Yeah. Get me out of here. No.
So I did that. I've had a lot of crazy dating experiences because when I was
Florida.
Well, yes, and also condoms is a thing in New York. I don't know. That's not a thing where I'm from.
Condoms?
Condoms. Yeah, that was something I learned. Matt Fulcheron, who I opened for a lot. He has a very funny bit. I won't burn it, but basically about how like nobody uses condoms anymore and. I heard his bit and I was like, yeah, because that was never a thing. Like when I was in college, so this is the thing. I didn't date a lot in high school. I was bullied a lot. I didn't hit my growth spurt till I was a senior, so I was always the fat kid. I have the whole bit about wanting my nickname to be Massive Tasseff, and they looked at me and go, no, you're Fatty Tatty.
Oh,
That was my whole life.
And those are the teachers.
I'll call you Massive Tasseff.
No, that's where all these scars come from. I was a very sad, sad kid. And then when I had one girlfriend in high school. I call her my high school sweetheart, even though we only dated for like 8 months in high school. Shout out Veronica.
That's a long time in high school, though.
Yeah,
That's
I was
like
a senior.
everything.
I was a young senior. I graduated at 17. She was an old freshman. So when I tell people I was a senior and she was a freshman, they're like, that's kind of creepy. But it's like, no, I wasn't like a 19 or an 18-year-old senior. Like I was 16 turning 17.
It was 2000 and what?
2006.
You could
And
do
it was in
whatever you
Florida.
wanted. 2006 Florida. That's actually. Were you married? Did you have 3 kids?
So then we broke up. She broke up with me because I was a psycho, because I had never had a real girlfriend before. And then I went to college. Now, this is where I first started dating, in the sense that we all know dating as it is today. This is when I first started doing that. I got into crazy shape. Like I said, my senior year, I hit my growth spurt. I wanted to play college football. So long story short, I ended up playing Division I college football, which is the highest level you can play. Yeah.
Then you are Massive Tasseff.
We do it. And I get to college.
And in Florida, that's
Yeah.
Where that
Yes,
matters.
exactly. That's the only thing that matters. People are like, do you like baseball? I'm like, what is soccer? Football. It's only football. Football. So I get there, and I remember saying to myself, this might be interesting for your listeners, but I remember saying to myself, I'm not going to get bullied anymore. I'm not going to live this life that I lived where I'm by myself. I don't have any friends. I'm going to change my life going into college. Now, everyone says that when they get to college. I'm going to be a new me. But I actually did it. I'll never forget it. My first day at college at Florida Atlantic University, go Owls. Oh, I met a friend through my roommate because he was one of these gregarious people who was going out and talking to everybody. So we met this woman. She has since passed away, heroin, crazy drug. And we go to her dorm, and we're in the elevator. And I'm going to FAU to play football. I'm not on full scholarship, though, so I wasn't there early. I'm just coming in with all the rest of the fuckheads. And we're in the elevator. The doors open. These 3 other football players get on the elevator. And I'm standing next to Marissa, and she's very pretty. And one of them looks me up and down, sucks his teeth at me, and goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And I said, "My name is Brennan. I'm coming to FAU to play football." And he goes, "Man, you don't play football." And in my head, I said, "Gotta do it. You gotta stand." And I turned to him, I go, this is when bro was a real big thing. I turned to him and I go, "Listen, bro, you don't know who the fuck I am." And he went, and then it was like I changed my life.
And
then all of a sudden I had friends. This girl and I ended up having sex. Like it was a whole thing. And I was like, this is awesome.
So that's
all
the
you
tip.
have to do is talk back.
All you have to do is stand up for yourself, but you can't.
And say bro.
Well, bro was a thing then. I don't know if it's a thing anymore, but bro was huge back then. I guess now it's, what do kids say now? Like lit and riz and stuff?
I think they just did the
bro-bro.
flossing dance, Robin. You wanted to do it.
You want to do the flossing? Show us what
What?
it is? Stand up on the table. Let us really see.
I do.
Coyote Ugly style.
I don't want to go backwards, but I'm still stuck on no one uses condoms. Am I the only person who used condoms? No?
Why are you saying condoms?
What do you say?
Like Van Damme. Condoms.
Jean-Claude Condom.
Condom.
My favorite movie star, Jean-Claude Condom. Condoms.
No, so this actually segues perfectly. So that year, as a freshman in college, I said to myself, you never got the experience, the traditional Friday Night Lights, Florida, Texas, high school football player experience. I never got that. And I said to myself, you're not going to date anybody, because I was raised around women. So my go-to is to like find, and I'm also a builder. That's why I'm a storyteller as a comedian. I like to world build. So I don't find the idea of just sleeping around incentivizing, because it's like, I want someone that I can trust, that I can at the end of my day be like, you're never gonna fucking believe it. So and so said this, or guess who I got on the podcast, and they're genuinely happy for me. That's what I want, because I have abandonment issues. This goes back to my mom. It's a whole thing. But I said in college, you're gonna go against your instinct to date, to be monogamy, and you're gonna fucking live your life. Because I never got that. You know, a lot of people have these high school stories of like partying and drinking with their friends and going out. At least my siblings did. They were all going to house parties and stuff in high school, and I never had any of that. So I was like, you're going to do this the way it is in the movies. You're going to fucking road trip this. You're going to Euro trip this. You're going to Friday Night Lights, Varsity Blues this. And that's what I did for 2 years. Just fucking, I'd go to practice. Wednesdays and Sundays were the 2 days we could party, and I was John Belushi in Animal House, man.
Only on Wednesdays and Sundays, is that what you said?
Yeah, during the season, because like we have hard practices during the week and stuff. So if you come in hungover, you're going to be way worse.
And you didn't date for those whole 2 years?
No, so for the 2 years, well, it was basically a year and a half. I didn't date while I was on the football team. I didn't have any one single relationship. I would meet girls at parties, and this was another thing that I had a really hard time with, was talking to women, because my sisters, I always viewed women in the spectrum of my sisters, because that's who I was raised around. Like, it was just, I didn't have a lot of male influences. My dad worked a lot. My older brother was gone by the time I was like of any sort of age to like look up to somebody. So I looked up to my sisters and my mom. I was a mama's boy for a long time, which probably explains why I was bullied. And so I had the hardest time talking to women. And then I discovered alcohol, and I would drink and go to these parties. And I always equate this, I'm a big movie guy. I always equate it, I don't know if anyone's seen Jerry Maguire, but there's a scene in Jerry Maguire where he's talking about something, and he goes, man, I was hot. And when I would drink, I'm that guy. Hey, Robin, what's up? How you doing? You still with that Julian guy? What's going on there? You look someone in the eye, you ask questions, and I'm genuinely interested in stories. Again, I'm a storyteller. So I would listen to what these women were saying, fully engaged. And it blew their minds. And then we would sleep together, and it blew my mind. And I was like, this is awesome.
Just listening. Oh my God, it's so easy. But did you make the connection that it was alcohol that was like lubricating that for you?
Yes, yeah. So it was definitely something I was aware of, because without alcohol, I was a scared, anxious kid. I'm actually an extroverted introvert, which is weird for people to hear because I work in the service industry. I also do stand-up. I host a very, very prominent podcast called Your Ex-Drinking Buddy. So whenever I tell people I'm naturally an introvert, they're like, you? No way. Like, we see you on stage. We see you talking to comics. But that is my natural state, is to, if given the choice, I would rather sit at home and play Skyrim on Xbox than go out and talk to people. And I discovered very early on that drinking made all of that insecurity and anxiety and all that kind of stuff leave. And I could just be the guy.
Did you ever, so for me, whenever I've had those kinds of feelings and alcohol alleviates them, the next morning, those feelings are like multiplied.
Yes,
or
1,000%.
Like, oh my God, I said this.
There are so many times I was like, I'm gonna walk into work and they're just gonna be like, you're fired.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you go out after work with the like.
What did I do?
Or worse, like everybody just hates you and is mad at you.
And then, even worse. They
Everybody's
keep
just
you, but
mad at
nobody
you.
likes you, and you're like, oh, I hate this.
I like the idea that everyone's thinking it though. We're all sitting there being like, what did I do? What did I do? I saw a great tweet where someone was like, hey, whoever needs to hear this, everyone does think you fucked up last night. Everyone's mad at you. It's a real thing.
It was crazy. But when I was playing football, because I would keep it under control, I would only party really hard 2 days a week and stuff. It was fine. Where things kind of went off the rails, especially when it comes to like dating and drinking and stuff, was I got my 8th major concussion at practice one day. Oh. This is basically 2 years into playing at FAU. And I sat down with the trainers and the coach, and this is when all the concussion, this is 2009 now at this point, all the concussion stuff is coming out. Like the NFL is being sued by the former players. Mm-hmm. People are dying. And so it became this thing where they basically said, listen, you cannot participate anymore. Yeah. You can keep your partial scholarship. We'll still pay for your books and your meal plan. You're still technically on the team. But you need to make a decision. Basically, if you want to be a mascot and keep coming to practice, you'll never play full contact again. Or we can just part ways here and you can go on living your life. And at the time, I was like, well, I've been drinking and partying and finally having casual sex for the first time in my entire life. On the couple of days I'm off and I drink, why not do that every day?
Yeah.
And I left the football program because of that. Because, they were like, you're never going to play. So it's like, why am I here? It'd be like someone being like, you can still come to open mics, but you're never going to get on stage again. You're like, well, then I'm not going to fucking come to open mics
sit through it. That sounds no fun.
Yeah.
Was that really sad for you?
It was, I don't want to get too down on this podcast. It was probably the most devastating thing up to my life.
Yeah.
Because my entire life up to that point, even when I was in high school and getting bullied, I was being bullied by teammates, but I was still a part of a team.
Yeah.
Football was the only thing I ever knew. And I'd say this all the time. When I first started playing, I hated it because I was a chubby little kid who didn't have any core strength, and I was just getting ran over. But my dad was from the Midwest and was like, you're going to play football. And I remember hating it. And then when I hit my growth spurt and got super strong, I was like, oh, this is fun now. Mm-hmm. And it all almost happened within the same year. I started not getting bullied. I started having friends. I started girls started being interested in me. I was actually getting better at football, and then within an instant, it was all taken.
I mean, even that turning point in the elevator where you made that choice to be like, this is not going to be my life anymore. It's like centered on football.
Yeah,
it was like
100%. And then that was taken from me. That's when things. Obviously, I have 7 years sober next week, but that's when things. Thank you. But that's when things got bad. And to bring it back full circle to the theme of the podcast, I was talking to this young woman, very, very pretty girl, blonde girl from Miami, and she was interested in me, and I saw the writing on the wall. I don't play football anymore. The one thing that I had been given was taken from me, and there's a whole aspect of I was really religious as a kid, and then this happened, and then I turned on God. There was a whole thing. But then I was basically, my head was like, you need to wife this pretty girl up now. Like, make her your girlfriend because you're never going to have sex again unless you, like, start dating her. That's like, I panicked.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not, my entire persona, my entire life is now gone.
Taken from you, yeah.
And I was like, I need to figure this out. And so in a panic move, she had told me several times, like, and it was full circle, it's exactly what I deserved. The force always brings balance. I used to tell girls who really liked me, I don't date. I don't do boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm a Division I college football player. I'm just living my life. If you want to like hang out at parties, I can come over. We can watch movies. We can have sex on occasion, but you are not my girlfriend. Full circle, football gets taken from me. This woman told me constantly, I'm trying to have the college experience. I don't want a boyfriend. Now I'm pushing her to be my girlfriend. So it was succinct justice. It was very, very, and that's what happened. You know, we started dating. I convinced her to date me because they're easy to convince. No, but I convinced her to be my girlfriend, and then she would.
I've been convinced to be a few people's girlfriends.
Yeah, right?
And
Yeah.
like
Wives
over
even.
and above my best
To
judgment.
be
I'm like,
to be
I don't
clear,
think we should do this.
I'm not in that bucket. Okay, she was texting, she was calling, she was saying, "I'll give you a green card. I'll do whatever you need. That's okay."
Whatever you need. Yeah, and so then we started dating, but she wasn't a big drinker. I don't want to put all her business out there, but she wasn't a big drinker. She didn't like the taste. She liked Xanax because it gave her the same feeling as drinking, but you didn't have to, like, you could just take one pill and be fine for the rest of the night. And by fine, I mean completely fucked up.
You're actually selling Xanax really well right now.
Xanax is.
I've never had Xanax. Should I get on this
I
train?
have a script for Xanax. I don't care for it. It's not for me.
It will key your day up. Hannibal Buress has a great joke where he says, they tell you not to mix it with alcohol, but that's just because they don't want you to have a good time. But then what would happen is, and I tend to gravitate towards people who I know who are going to hurt me because I always like being like, see, I told you so. It's always self-fulfilling prophecies. So we start dating. She's still going out living her college life because I did the whole like, no, I'm totally cool. You do your thing, I'll do my thing, but we'll just be boyfriend, girlfriend.
So would you classify yourself as an anxious attachment style?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, is that the kind of guy where I used to tell my ex-fiance, send me a Snapchat of everyone who's in the room with you so I know you're not lying? Is that anxious attachment or is that just toxic, psychotic?
Yeah, I think that's more just that's more just toxic. I think because they have like anxious attachment styles and avoidant attachment styles and then whatever the
Are there only two
balance
attachment
is.
styles?
Well, then there's like it's a spectrum. It goes from anxious to avoidant and then...
Not anymore.
one in
My
the
guy
middle.
RFK's getting rid of all the spectrums.
No more.
I gotta stop doing it.
Just get an RFK
You
going.
just keep
That's
teeing it up.
But yeah, that's somebody who, like, you know, you're...
Listen
afraid to be
here,
the band.
Robin. There's no such thing as an anxious
good.
attachment style.
Close. It's not as good as your trauma.
I just did. That was the first time I ever tried it.
Yeah,
work
I
on
think I think, yeah, you did.
No, but yeah.
Keep
so
on going until he dies of measles, though. You don't have much time.
Anxious attachment is the where you're.
Like you kind of they oftentimes will chase people who are avoidant.
Yes.
And they and there is this you're just constantly afraid that you're going to be left.
Then yeah, that is
Yeah,
100% me. I say it's from my abandonment issues
Yeah,
because
then that's where those things stem from.
Yeah, exactly.
100%,
So
yes.
I am anxious attachment where I do seek out people who I think are going to leave me. And also, too, I'm a creature of chaos. This is something I learned at a very young age. I had an ex-stepdad who was an alcoholic, very abusive. Me and my dad didn't get along for the longest time. We're great now. Love him. Shout
you
out
the
Pops. Me and my twin sister are the youngest.
I'm allowed to do a quick check. Do you think youngest are the best?
No, my older brother is a PhD.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest. Youngest siblings are the best.
Oldest.
Where's your PhD from Cornell?
Boo, boo.
My brother was
It's with
the
his
youngest
brother. It's with
person
his
ever to be like in R&D at Procter & Gamble.
But I meant like, okay, you know what? I
Shut up,
mean,
drunk. You're like, let's go, baby. My brother's like a beautiful mind smart. I don't know if you ever.
I don't
seen
mean the
that.
smartest. You know what? We're going to cut all this
And
out.
also the
So,
best. Also the best.
just move your mouth like I'm going to dub it. I'm going to say. Okay.
Listen, they love me. No, okay. So I chased her. She decided to date, and then obviously subsequently cheats on me a bunch. It's a whole thing. We end up breaking up. And then, and I have a whole bit about this. Julian's heard it a million times. But from the time I left football, within 3 to 6 months, I had gained 100 pounds.
Oh wow.
So her and I were only together not even a year. We break up because I finally stood up for myself and I said, I won't take this cheating anymore. No, that's not what happened. She was like, you're a psycho. I'm done with this. And then I literally go through a lull where I don't date. I don't like anything for the rest of college, pretty much.
So the next 2,
3 years. I was a super senior.
So
3 years.
So the rest of it, you're not hooking up with women.
No, I can't. I'm now.
I have nothing to offer.
Well,
I'm back in that space.
310 pounds.
Gotcha.
Like
Well,
college is full of attractive. College in South Florida is full of attractive young people. So it's like, why would you hook up with the fucking giant?
I mean, that's such an interesting mindset. So much of what you've said, rings true of like the manosphere, the alpha man, like manosphere of
Red pill it, everybody.
You have to like so you're like, I'm not a football player anymore. What value am I bringing this girl? I need to like lock her down because I'm no longer this like high value man that's on the football team where she can come see me on Friday night and. It makes me sad, like because so many of those stories are inside men's own heads.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's all based in fear. Everything I've ever done in my life is based in fear because again, this goes back to my abandonment issues. Like when my parents got divorced, my mom left, and I was a mama's boy. So to have that person in my life leave always makes me feel that I am less than. Because, it's a true thing where it's like, how could the one person that I've always looked up to, because me and my dad didn't get along a lot when I was younger. Again, we're great now. I always got to say that because sometimes he's like, I hear you talking shit on podcasts. Because he listens to like everything I do now.
Aww.
But at the time when she leaves, it gets into my head of this whole, which is, I do tend to push back a lot of times because I'm an incredibly empathetic person. Like, I think about this guy every day. There was an IDD gentleman on the street who came up to me and asked me for directions 9 months ago in New York. And I think about this guy every day because I'm like...
What's IDD?
Intellectually developmentally disabled or delayed. And I was like, I wanted to help him, but I was running late for a spot. And I was like, it's down that way like 3 blocks, man. But I knew he wasn't going to get there. And I think like I obsess about like I'm that kind of person. Like if I see a dog without a leash in Florida, I would just be like, this is my dog now. Like we got to figure this out.
We have 5 cats in our home
We have a dog.
currently.
Yeah, so it's like, but it's one of those things where I don't subscribe. The tour I'm on actually right now, and this is a great way to put it, is bro adjacent. Where it's like I come off as like, when you first see me, I come off as like this broy bro alpha, like, yeah. But that's not really who I cry at extra gum commercials because I'm like, they're dad, man, in the truck, they did the thing. And people are always like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But like, to your point, it was instilled in my head for so long, like this is where your value comes from, that when it was gone, it was like a disaster.
Yeah.
And so the two stories from dating and the only other person I dated in college was this very beautiful girl. I had no business talking to me. And the first date we ever went on was I was working at Outback at the time as a server. And the first date we ever went on, I was like, oh, let's go to Outback because I get 50% off. And I only have $100 to my name. I can make sure she can get whatever she wants. And so I'm ordering like I can get $100 and something worth of food from Outback. And then the bill comes, and I left my wallet in my dorm room.
Oh, no.
And now I already have super low self-esteem.
Oh.
This girl, I have no business. But, I was always
yeah.
funny. So,
Yeah,
that's a way into somebody's heart. If you can make them laugh, you can make them breakfast. And so...
That's a great saying.
Thank you. So I forgot my wallet, and it was devastating. Because the bill comes, and it's like $87. And I was like,
Yeah.
perfect. I had just enough for tip. Go to reach in my back pocket and it's not there. Go to reach in my other pocket. And I'm like, because I always put it in the same pocket. So when I do that, I'm like, I don't have it. I know I don't have it. And
Check the other pocket just in case.
Now I'm like,
You're doing the classic, oh no.
Yeah, I'm wearing a T-shirt and I'm like, maybe it's one of my fat folds. And she was like, it's no big deal. She literally was, to her credit, she was like, it's really not a big deal. Like, I got it. And I'm on the verge of tears because I'm devastated. And I cry a lot, but I'm devastated. And so we have a class together. So I'm still like, the next day I go to hand her $100 and she's like, no, seriously, don't worry about it. So I'm like, all right, fine. So then a couple weeks later, there's this Italian restaurant. It was all the rage in Boca Raton called Brio. It was a grand opening. And through a friend of hers, she got invited to the grand opening. All the food is free. The only thing you have to pay for is drinks. And I'm like, I'm going to make it up here. So we go there, and I maybe have like $120 to my name because I'm in college. Like I'm working at a restaurant, but I'm only working a couple days a week. I'm taking out student loans. I paid for everything on my own. And so we go there, and I'm like, I'm going to big shot this. I'm going to buy drinks I'm going to buy the whole, there's like 9 of us. I was like, I'm going to buy everyone's drinks at the table. So we get the bill. I have $113 to my name. We get the bill, and it's $111. And I'm like, I got it. And I throw my card, because I know working in restaurants, the tip won't process for 3 days. So I've got 3 days to figure this out. So I throw my card down, leave a big tip. I'm like, thanks, man. And she's like, oh my God. And all her friends are like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then I remember we like made out in the parking lot of the restaurant. And then that was it. And then just ghosted is the term now, but then just that was the end of it. She wouldn't return my texts, wouldn't return my calls. It's almost, if I was red pilled, I'd be like, yeah, I owed her, so she got hers, and then stop talking. But that's not how I view things. I view it as like, I got drunk, probably made an ass out of myself, tried to look like a big shot in front of all her friends. She kept being like, don't do this, and I was like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyway. Probably displaying very like alpha-centric tendencies, even though that's not, I'm trying to peacock. And so then she stopped talking to me. And that was between that until years later was the last like dating I ever did.
Wow. And what's interesting to me is that like I would have left that thinking, I mean, the getting like the ghosted part, that's not great, but it sounds like you ended it on a high. Like,
yeah,
you guys made out at the parking lot.
Walked out of that room.
You impressed all of her friends. Like you got to leave being like, okay, at least I kind of made up for this like boneheaded move I made on the first date.
Yeah,
like it's
that
really
was my
a win.
Yeah,
like,
100%. And we would see each other out at bars and stuff. And I remember, I think we would hang out from time to time. But from that point on, until I met my ex-fiance, I had nothing. So I do empathize with this, because like I hear about this incel culture and stuff like that, and I'm always like, it's not, like just go out, because I was raised by people who were salespeople. Like my older sister's in marketing, my dad was in sales for a long time, my uncle, so I'm very good in the room. You look at somebody in the eye, you ask questions, you're engaged, like we talked about, storytelling. And so I've noticed this too with a lot of like younger comics who will be like, how do you know so-and-so? And it's like, I just met him and we connected. I was like, if you ever want to come hang, come hang. I invite everyone to come hang. I'm fucking at the same places every like few days. And then they come and they're just on their phone the whole time. And they won't look up. And I go, this is why you're not connecting with people. And I bring that to say, like I say all that to say, like in that 2 to 3 year stretch, I understood the frustration that comes with, I see a pretty person and I'm like, I want to talk to them, but I can't because I'm so down on myself. So I could see where that anger would come from. Mm-hmm. But the whole time, I don't know, I would always look at it as like, this is a me problem. This isn't a them problem. This is a me problem. And so again, I can empathize with that anger, but again, I think it's misplaced in this. It's everyone else's fault. Like girls just don't like me. It's like, well, maybe
girls like all kinds.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Robin, sometimes I've seen relationships where I'm like, how the fuck did this giant, goofy, talks with marbles in his mouth motherfucker end up with this pretty
average girl? I agree. Pretty average. But I do think while the anger is misplaced, and I'm not supporting incel culture. I think the difference with men, I feel, is that men and women are both wanting, someone to be with, but the issue is that as a guy, you feel like it's on you. So like if I'm sitting there and a girl's sitting there and we don't make a connection and we both liked each other, I'm going home being like, you're a coward, Julian. You didn't talk. Yeah. You didn't do this. And so I think there are lonely women, there are lonely men. But as a man, you feel like every time you go home from a party and you didn't meet someone or hook up, you're like, I failed. And women might have the same insecurity, like maybe I wasn't pretty enough or this. But I think the anger comes from this like feeling like a coward or feeling like you didn't do something and like it feels like the pressure is on.
It's all fear-based. Everything is fear-based. Everything I do in my life is fear-based. As Master Yoda once said, I sense much fear in you, which is stupid because it's Star Wars, but I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, and it is how I've lived my entire life up to that point, because it's crazy to me to think about how I used to be and be like, if you just would not have given a shit, there's all sorts of opportunities. Yeah. Again, this goes back to like, I know guys that have no business dating who they're dating, but it's like they don't care. They just live their life and do their thing. Yeah. And women, so there is a type of woman who's super attracted to that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but he's got bad teeth and he stinks. And she's like,
he makes you laugh, or he does whatever.
Yeah.
Or he talked to me. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't care, so he came up and talked to me at a party when every other guy's intimidated and won't talk to me. So it is a crazy thing. But yeah, then
How did you overcome that like fear-based living?
So it's still there, 1,000%. I'm still terrified every single day.
Never get over that.
Yeah, but what happened was I again don't think I have sex for like 2.5 years. Long story short, I finished at school. I barely graduated through the skin of my teeth. I end up back in Daytona. I get a settlement. I got hit by a car after my first DUI at FAU. So I get the settlement. Like obviously 2 years later, I'm living in Daytona. I get the settlement money. I have a whole bit about it. It's in my one-man show. But I blow through $26,000 in 28 days in Daytona, which is very difficult to do. But I did it. I'm a champion. And I still, like, I hired prostitutes, but still wasn't, like, having sex. Because I was the kind of person who would go to strip clubs, pay for dances just so I could talk, just so I could have some sort of connection. Because, again, I value connection more than anything. So
I
it's
don't
like,
think you're alone in that.
okay. I thought I was unique, but all right.
No, you're mundane.
I think there are people who like go to strip clubs and they want to talk.
1,000%. Yeah, I so badly just wanted to connect with someone. It's like I could jerk off. That's fine. Like I'll handle it myself, but I just want to talk to somebody.
Julian goes to strip clubs to fumble with clasps.
With clasps? That wasn't a strip club.
Are you a fumbler?
No, there's a story.
The good thing about having sisters is I was around bras at a very early age.
No, but
I can do it one-handed, left hand, eyes closed, one snap.
To be clear, this was not a strip club, and it was a girl, and she it was a girl. But I mean, she designed her own suite.
Oh, listen, it was a girl, very attractive, the most attractive.
No, but she designed her own suite of bras. That was her business, and evidently they had like a Rubik's cube on the back. I was unable to get it up, and we brought the best minds in. We had all the men's horses, all the king's horses. It was.
My brother was there.
Yeah, your brother was there. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's a beautiful mind, but there's only so much he could do. So in the end, we just left the baptism.
We just walked out of that church like, you figure it out, Jesus.
I can't believe you're dropping me the fumbling. Okay.
You're a known fumbler.
I'm a known fumbler.
fumbler.
The bra game's my weakest part, followed only by the rest.
Big hands.
Yeah, I don't know how to work them. No, I think it's a twist, and then sometimes there's a.
No, that's what I'm saying. You twist and push.
You got to get close to the locking mechanism, and you got to listen. You got to see.
Yeah, so that was.
Often girls have it's a side clasp. It's rare.
I've heard of a front one.
This is edible, yeah? No.
I could see you like a girl has like a because they're not cheap,
No,
a very
they're so
expensive
expensive.
bra, and you just like rip it off in the heat of passion, and she's like, "The fuck is wrong with you? It's $200."
I go, well, make it even. You can rip off my 30-cent underwear. Okay.
My mom gave me.
My mom gave me. You give me that.
My name is in the back though. So
Don't rip those. My mom gave them to me.
I'm gonna have to restitch it.
Jokes aside, I do. My mom gets all my underwear because who else is going to buy it? Okay, I'm not buying my own underwear.
Tracy, my girlfriend now, gets mad because I have holes in some of my underwear because I'm a big boy, you know.
Yeah, they don't like that.
And she's
hate
like, throw these away, buy more. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like $40 for a pack of 10. She's like,
For a pack of 10?
Yeah.
Your underwear $4 a pair?
that's what she says. I go, but it's $40. She goes, it's for 10.
First of all, Robin, maybe you could save money if you stop shitting your underwear all the time, okay?
I will not.
It's the breed.
It's the brief. Robin
don't like
cheesed
it when
herself
you try
right
to tell
before
me
this
what to do.
podcast, so we're going to have to cut it short at any second. Girls do hate when you have underwear. Robin will throw it out.
I just throw them
I
away.
know. I
I
have
just throw
my.
them away.
The best thing about being a man is you have your good underwear. Then you have your bad underwear.
What do you
Then
think
you
I'm
have
wearing right now? Good
emergency.
underwear.
Yeah,
I'm on a
for the
podcast.
pod. And you have times I'll be like, I'll get changed when Robin goes to the bathroom because I'm in my not great underwear, and she's going to give me a talking to.
Yeah, I don't.
I have work underwear, good underwear, and then just lazy day around the house underwear.
What's special about your work underwear?
My work underwear is like the cheaper ones,
Okay.
where it's like, okay, I just need something. I need a barrier between my skin and my crotch,
and
my
the-
genitalia,
Gotcha.
and my work
They're
pants.
crotchless. Is that what you're saying?
No, and then my good underwear is I get like those nice like briefs that are like tight but not too tight, and they're supportive. That's my show underwear.
That's-
as I like to
that's-
say.
That's where you're on stage in.
Yeah, when I'm on stage and I
Okay.
do podcast stuff like that. I also have show shoes. I don't know if you have those.
Does it make you feel like...
Yeah, 100%.
Very
yeah.
similar.
When I put on my good underwear, I'm like, and a good shirt, like a clean, nice shirt, I'm like,
What are you wearing now right now?
Oh, not good underwear, but anytime I've been in a job
I'm
interview,
offended?
I'm wearing a matching set.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh,
like,
100%.
It just makes me feel...
Because you don't know what you're going to have to do to get the job.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Oh, I already know. That's why I'm wearing it. No, yeah, it just makes me feel comfortable.
She keeps getting rejected in the final interview.
They're like, stop. Please stop.
You're not qualified.
Please put your clothes back on, man.
Also, your bra is impossible to take off.
What is this Rubik's Cube? We're off the rails. We got so serious and then just off the rails. Good, I like that.
This is
That's
meant
good.
to be
That's
off
fun.
the rails. This is what we
I do actually want to go back to condoms.
Condom.
Well, he was great in Street Fighter. I'll tell you that much.
So I was shocked because I was a serial monogamous like you. So condoms, I've always been a condom person unless I'm like in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to New York after law school, I lived with two guys. And they're like, we can't, they're telling me about their condomless sex. I'm like, guys, you have to stop doing that. They're like, we want to. We offer. And then
really?
The girls are the ones who don't want to do it. I'm like, what? That's crazy.
And the time that I was in college and I was actually like having sex a lot with different people, this is full transparency. It never came up.
Really?
Yeah, I never got them because I already have an anxious penis in the first place.
Yeah.
And so
It's avoidant. Is that it?
it's very avoidant. Very avoidant. Sometimes it's a problem avoidant.
It's like, no thank you.
But so they were difficult for me to wear anyway because blood flow down there was already an issue.
Plus, if you're drinking, and that's a
and
problem.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
So it was already difficult for me. So I never bought them because I was like, this is like a instant
Stumbling block.
Yeah, and so I just never had them. And girls sometimes I shouldn't say never because only a Sith deals in absolutes. But sometimes girls would say, "Do you have a condom?" And I would say no, and they go, "Okay."
Huh.
And you go, "Okay," and then you just keep going. It wasn't until fast forward. You asked me about the fear thing. I end up blowing through all that money. I go to live with my cousin in Oklahoma City for like 3 months. We're doing comedy a lot. Again, I'm just drunk on stage, and at one point he says, "Brennan, I have sway in the scene around here. I can get you on shows, but you got to stop running the light. You got to stop doing shitty impressions. They're really good impressions, but just the fact you're doing them is shitty." He goes, "You got to stop. You can't drink for 30 days, and then I'll start getting you on shows." I made it 28 days, started drinking again. He walks in the back room where I'm staying. I'm watching Burn Notice on a phone smaller than this because Burn Notice is my show, just crying, drinking. And he walked in and he goes, "What happened?" And I looked at him, truly sincere, and I go, "I don't know." And I was in rehab the next day.
Oh.
Called the number on the back of my insurance card because I was still on my dad's insurance because I was 23 at the time. And I was in a rehab. I was back in Florida in a rehab the next day. So then in rehab, I lose all the weight. I start getting all these tools to cope other than drinking. I start recognizing I can't get rid of the anxiety or depression or fear, but I start recognizing it and learning how to deal with it and stuff. Come out of rehab, I'm living in a halfway house. I start working at Outback. I worked at Outback for like 10 years through all this.
Did you find rehab, were those skills that you didn't, where you were not already plugged into them?
Yes. So I had gone to a meeting at 22. So this is when I was 25. I'd gone to a meeting, or 24. I'd gone to a meeting at 22 because friends from work, again, we go full circle, going back to that. Someone at work came to me and said, and she also was only like 22 years old, but she came to me and she goes, "Brennan, I discovered at a very early age that I was probably an alcoholic. I started going to meetings." She goes, "I think you should come too." And it was weird because my addictive mindset has helped me in a lot of ways. That's how I got to play Division I college football because I was obsessed. It's what helps me in comedy because I am obsessed with comedy. I'm an addict in life and nature. That's why I go to the gym 6 days a week. Like, it's a superpower in a lot of ways.
And like any superpower, if you flip it.
It can also be incredibly damning.
Yeah.
So I drank like I played football. I drank like I now treat comedy. I drank like I go to the gym now. Every day, no matter what happens, this is what we do. So she comes to me. I go to my first meeting. So I did have some insight on AA and the culture around that. But I remember at 22, look, I raised my hand, I shared, I'm weeping. I go, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I can't stop doing this. At 22, walk out of that room and within like 10 minutes, I was like, that was an overreaction. You're a bit of a drama queen. Why don't you relax a little bit? I don't know if you're crying in front of all those strangers. Fucking weirdo. And then I just went on living my life as it was. I got alcohol poisoning in college, had to get rushed to the ER, came out of the ER, chugged a Gatorade, did a shot of vodka. That's because that was what we did. And so when I went to rehab, to answer your question in a very long-winded way, it taught me a lot of skills I didn't because it's not an AA-based rehab. They just teach you about addiction and stuff. So it taught me a lot of skills that I had no idea were even feasible, were even a thing. And then I got out of rehab, living in a halfway house, and I was working at Outback, and that's where I met my ex-fiance. And I had lost all the weight. I was working out like crazy. I met her, instant connection, and I was like, oh, I'm going to marry this person. We start dating, literally a month and a half into dating. There's a warrant out for my arrest from stuff I did back in the day. Nothing violent, just a DUI I skipped town on. But a month and a half into dating, I get caught. We're driving to an AA meeting. I'm not wearing a seatbelt. We get pulled over. License and registration. They ask me for my ID, and I have a whole bit about it. This is the land of the free and the home of the brave. I don't have to show you shit. And guns drawn. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
You're the passenger?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Is it legally? Can I ask you?
Yeah, they showed me the statute before because I said I don't have to give you my ID. I'm a passenger. He showed me the statute in the little handbook, and he's like, "Yeah, you do. All passengers in vehicles have to wear a seatbelt." Like he showed me the thing, so I was like, "Fine." Handed him the whole time I'm just stalling because I know I have a warrant out for my arrest, and so they take my ID, run it, come up to the car, guns drawn, get out of the car, get out of the car. In my one-man show, but I'm a comic, so I make jokes. I go, it was just like the movies.
Guns drawn for a fucking
DUI, a non-violent crime.
Yeah, it was intense.
You just like, everyone pull your gun down. He's about to drink and drive. Quick, he's doing it. He's sober now, but he's gonna.
So I go into, and this is an interesting thing. So I go to jail. The cops, and I'm talking, and I go, listen, guys, I'm on my way to an AA meeting. I live in a halfway house. Like, please, like I have to call my job. I have to call the owner of the halfway house. Like I have to tell them what's going on. And the cop looks at me. He goes, I'll put it on speakerphone. You get 3 calls. Like driving to because I've been arrested plenty. Before this, I'd been arrested a lot of times before, which is how I'm in this situation. So it's like, I know once I get to the jail, I don't have numbers memorized. Like I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So he lets me write down on a pen and paper a few numbers and put it in my pocket so I can bring that into the cell with me. And then I start calling people. And they call Alyssa, who's my ex now, but at the time was my girlfriend. And I tell her what's going on. And she's like, okay, make sure to call me when you get there. And she stayed with me through the whole thing. I have the bit. I would write her every single day from jail.
How long were you in?
I was 4 months is what it ended up being. And I would write her every single day. Grew my beard out. Like stayed in shape only because they don't feed you.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
The caloric intake in jail is like maximum.
I've always wondered because in the
1,200
movies
calories.
they're jacked. Is that not possible?
No, it is possible to get jacked, but it's expensive. You have to pay a lot of money in commissary to get your own food.
And it's more than normal.
Yeah. And again, this goes back to the same thing in college. Like I'm on my own. Like you always see in movies when people are like, "Oh, my dad's gonna be so mad I got arrested." I'm like, "You're calling your dad?"
Yeah.
Like I'm grown. Like I left home at 17. Like I graduated high school and I was like, "All right, cool, bye." And so I was just like, "All right, I'll deal with this." So then I dealt with it and I got out. Alyssa and I were still together and I was like, "Oh, this is the person I'm gonna marry." So, and the concepts of dating, I went from the crazy lifestyle in college playing football to literally just a blackout for like 2.5 years to then meeting the person I would eventually propose to. And so we dated. I relapsed after a year. That was a whole mess. And so then I thought, so we had been dating for about 1.5 years. I relapsed. And about a year after that, I go, oh, to fix this, you know what we should do? We should get engaged. And I did.
At least you didn't say have a kid.
Yeah, well.
That's next up.
That was next stop. No, but so we get engaged, but I'm a mess. Like I'm a disaster. And so eventually, after 2 years of her threatening to leave for her own good, she leaves. So now she's gone, I'm relapsed, it's a disaster. But now I'm back in like single guy, so I'm hooking up with people from work, it's a whole thing. And then in my last...
That's a terrible idea.
And it was bad.
Especially you were a server?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so messy.
Yeah, it was a disaster. But my weight is fluctuating up and down, but I'm not getting to the point where I'm like 300 pounds again. I'm staying in a particular window. I'm drinking. I'm working at a brunch place, so I'm like waking up still drunk, doing a shot so I can drive because I'm so shaky. Driving into work, and then I'd keep vodka in my trunk in a water bottle. Oof. And this is Florida. This is hot. I'd open the trunk, get my hot vodka out, and chug it. Chug it on my break, smoke a cigarette, go back in, work the lunch shift. Yeah, and then I was just like, the servers at work, we would all hook up. There was a whole messy thing. And again, this goes back to the anxious attachment. I was dating a girl who had 2 kids by somebody else, was trying to have a 3rd kid with, quite honestly, did not care who. She just wanted a 3rd kid. So she was hooking up with me, then she'd go back and hook up with her ex, and then it was a disaster.
I have never heard of anybody who wants a 3rd kid.
Yeah, she got him.
I'm the 3rd kid.
Yeah, again, no, I've spoken to your parents extensively about this. Never heard of anybody who wanted a
My
3rd
mum
kid.
did say I was an accident. It was not even in an argument. She was like, "Isn't that funny?" I was like,
She thought she was doing a bit. And you're like, wow, my soul is crushed now.
"Do you get it? We didn't want you."
You get it?
She was like, "You were surprised." I was like, "You could at least say pleasant surprise." Yeah, you were shocked.
This is why you have to dance in front of strangers for acceptance.
That's exactly right. I'm like, "Did you want to hear that? Like, we just wanted 2 comics, really. You third one coming up really surprised us. We were not ready financially."
Please like me, please like me.
Well, joke's on them. I'm the best, right?
You are.
I slipped right when I did that. I'm the best.
I'm the fucking best. Listen here, you guys. I'm the best.
I would put to a vote, but you guys, you've not supported me, my younger siblings' votes. So we'll just move on.
I think you're hilarious. I was pretty shocked with some things you revealed to me right before the mics went on.
Oh, yeah.
I feel pretty devastated about that, but that's okay. I still love
Never meet your heroes, Brennan.
it. Never meet your heroes.
I'm going to say that anytime I disappoint someone in person, any friend,
That's a great...
does you spill a beer? Never meet your heroes.
Never meet
I
your
want to be
heroes.
known that I came up with that. When we're all going to be doing it forever, that's going to be a big...
That's my thing now.
It's going to be the new bro.
Callback.
You should have said to that guy, never meet your heroes. Go back 20 years, Brennan. You could have roasted him.
Never meet your heroes, kid. Malik. Never
That was
meet
his
your
name?
heroes. Yeah.
Got him. He's a listener. I know his last name. Don't ask.
Johnson.
Malik Johnson. It's a guess.
I get it. I mean, played D1 football in South Florida, baby.
So that finally ended.
Yeah. So
And
that
then is that when you moved to New York?
No. So the chaos happens, and then it's just a lot of like, everything I did from after Alyssa left, everything I did after that was trying to recapture the first 2 years of college. In my mind, it was I need to get back to that, to where
So
I'm
you're,
just
like, trying to
drinking,
get into
partying.
shape.
Yeah, but I'm also like just like willy-nilly like getting hammered, talking to girls. This is where the other thing I talked about comes in. I've wanted kids since I was 12. I grew up, and when my parents told us they were getting a divorce, this was a very stupid thing to think. But I remember thinking, they told us on Christmas because we were all together, and I remember thinking, I can't wait till I have kids because I'm gonna fucking crush it. Like,
That
you know what I
is
mean?
your
Like,
thought.
I'm
That's
gonna
so
fucking
interesting.
dominate there. Because I'm sitting there crying, thinking it's my fault, like every kid does, and
Yeah.
I'm like, when I have kids, man, it's gonna be different. So I've wanted kids for a long time, and I remember at this point in my life, I'm now like late 20s, early 30s, or no, late 20s. I remember going to bars and going up to women and going, have you ever thought about having kids? And in the South, given we're in New York now, but in the South, they'll go, you know, I have. Because immediately they think commitment, this guy is different, no guy wants kids, this guy is. And then I would say, look right into camera, I'd say, well, all I need you to do is be a vessel for 9 months to carry a kid.
And then
Normally I'd get slapped, a drink thrown on me, something like that.
What, you hate commitment? This is why guys don't commit.
But that was my go-to line for a little while,
So
blackout out of my mind.
that was a line. But it was not a true desire.
No, it was.
Oh, was it?
But that was my thing. Is I was like, I'm getting older. My fiance left me. Like
I just
need.
want a child. I want a motherless child.
Well, that's why I was saying earlier when
You
you
were
were
the
like
one.
have a kid. It was like not yet, but eventually. Like I was like now I
You're
want
like,
a
now
kid.
I'm
Now
gonna
I need
do
a
it.
now I need a bro to
This
hang
one
out with.
can't
Now
leave
I
me.
need yeah exactly.
Robin, what was your line? You'd say, do you want kids? They'd say yes. You go, can you take mine? Because I do not like these kids.
I fucking hate them. I've never said that, but
That's a good one.
Yeah.
We so,
Be my vessel is better, though, I
the
think.
one I use is dropping my kids off at the pool. That's
for taking a cheese. We're talking about
just-
cheese again.
getting cheese. with
Cheese-
bread.
cheese.
No, that's how I pick up men.
No, Robin.
I'm
Robin.
talking about the shits I'm about to take.
I could show you some texts Robin sends me. She goes, I got diarrhea again. Every time diarrhea is spelled different. Every time. Never once incorrect and inconsistent
I
spelling
gotta
of
keep
that.
him on his toes.
You gotta voice to text that word. There's so many words I voice to text because I'm terrible at spelling.
You're just on the train going, diarrhea.
I will write out and then I'll go,
Diarrhea has like 3.
diarrhea.
And everyone on the train is like, what the fuck?
What he's doing, hold on.
He goes, hold it. Diarrhea.
Vicious diarrhea. Sorry,
Tricky
viscous.
one. There's a C in there. There's a C in there.
There's a C in my
We
diarrhea.
all
No.
know that diarrhea has 3 H's.
Of course, duh.
3 what?
H's.
3 H's.
3 H's, absolutely. It's the way you do it.
Sometimes it's got more when you're like, diarrhea.
Oh, you know, Brennan's talking about some deep stuff, but we're just going to clip the poop bit. That's
That's it. That's what
You're
people
not
want.
going to see anything about your story and about how you've
people
grown
want,
and
the
changed
poop-
over the
the
years.
poop bit.
Prison, drugs, all of it. No, it's poop.
Yeah, it's just poop.
Do
It
you
is.
do you use condoms when you poop?
So then I get to New York.
So then it gets here.
No, but that was the thing. So then, my 18th birthday, I wake up in a hospital being told I should be dead by an ER doctor.
Sorry, 18th?
My
28th.
in 2018 on my
Oh,
30th
okay.
birthday, I wake up in a hospital. So I'm trying to recapture these glory days of football. It's not happening. I turned 30. I remember I was sober for like 2 months at the time. I moved in my own apartment because of the last place. I got drunk and my roommates kicked me out because they were like, "You're late on rent all the time. You're always drunk. You're taking cuts from work even though you don't have the money to not go in." So they kicked me out. I had saved a little bit though, and I got my own place, which isn't hard in Florida. And on my 30th birthday, I get so drunk, I end up in a hospital. I wake up in the hospital. One of my friends for many, many years is crying at the bed next to me. And again, I talk about all this in One Man Show. It's very depressing. It's very sad. But that's when I go, okay, it's really shit or get off the pot time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
Like, what am I doing?
Thank you for using analogies she could understand.
Yeah. Well, there's again, I go to movies so often, but there's a movie line I really like in this movie, Burnt with Bradley Cooper, where they say doomed youth is very romantic. When you're in your 20s and you're running and gunning, die young, leave a beautiful corpse, that is a romantic sentiment in American culture. Doomed middle age is just fucking sad.
Sad, yeah.
And so at 30 now, that's all I can think of is that line over and over and over. And I go, I got to figure this out. So I get sober.
And you knew sobriety. That was like the first
Yeah, that
key.
was, yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I couldn't stay sober was because I didn't want to do the work.
Yeah.
Every time something difficult would happen, I would fold. I'd get a shitty schedule at work and be like, fuck it, I'm going to drink. They got me closing 4 nights in a row, I'm going to get wasted.
Yeah.
And so I called my sponsor, who had been my sponsor for a long time through this whole period. And I'm crying, same thing, crying, I got to fix this. And I meant it, but I had meant it every time before, and it never stuck. And then I got sober, I started working the steps. I get a job. I said no more restaurants unless I can get a job at a really good restaurant. So I get a job at Morton's, which is the best steakhouse in Jacksonville at the time. I meet my now ex, who I moved to New York with. We start dating. I'm trying to do this no fear, cool guy, don't care kind of thing. And it works. She falls in love with me. I'm in great shape at the time too. So that didn't hurt. And about 3 to 6 months in, because I want kids, I want to get married, I want someone to share my life with. 3 to 6 months in, I realized, oh, this isn't that person. We're basically living separate lives together.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not what I want. But we both desperately want to get out of Jacksonville and move to New York. I want to for comedy. She wants to because she spent her entire life in this podunk town, Jacksonville, Florida. And she loves New York. So in my mind, I go, well, the ends justify the means. We're going to stay in this because I want to get to New York. I couldn't have gotten here without her. I give her all the credit in the world for that. We get to New York. I'm still sober. I'm doing comedy. And then the anxious attachment comes back. It's like, I think she's cheating on me. And, I knew all the telltale signs because I'd been cheated on so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And because the people I go after are those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I know this is what's happening. My brother used to always say, and still says, he was because I'm a pretty smart guy. He makes me look like an idiot child, but I'm pretty decently smart. He goes, the problem with being smart is you always know how it's going to end. And in my head, I'm like, I know this is happening. I know this is happening.
What is happening?
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay,
100%.
okay.
Because she would just like go. She'd be like, "Oh, I'm going out with my friends." Like she would do this thing where she wouldn't text for like entire days at a time. Like when we were living together, she'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to work like at 11 o'clock."
So you
Then I
guys
wouldn't
were
hear
really
from her
just-
till like 4 in the morning. Like literally, we were living separate lives, and it was driving me insane. But I was trying to play it cool. Like I'm toxic. This is my fault. Let her live her life. And so we re-signed the lease, and then literally a month later, I finally catch her. And I was like, I told you. And now I have to find a new place to live. So
That's your reward. That's your reward for
now
catching
I
him.
have to find a new place to live. So I find a new place to live, and this was my first experience. The title of the show, this was my first experience on the apps.
What year is this?
This is 2021.
Oh.
2022, excuse me. We moved here in 21. We broke up in 22. So from December of 22 into like March of 23, I'm on the apps.
And it's like alien territory.
I have no idea. I'm doing stuff that I'm like, oh, this is cute. And then all my friends that are women, comics mainly, that's who I associate with, they're all like, oh my God, that's such a cute picture. That's cute. We love that. And then all my guy friends are like, dude, this fucking gay. What are you doing? This is pussy shit.
Get your dick out.
Yeah. And so I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm used to just going up and being at a party. And if Julian would introduce me to you, and say we're all single in this scenario, Julian introduces me to you, now I have an in. Now I can be my engaging, gregarious self. If I had no idea who you were, and Julian and I walked into a bar, and he had no idea who you were, I wouldn't even look at you more than once. Because there's that weird, like, without the connection, I don't want to be a creep. I don't want to be a weirdo. I know what my sisters went through, like, growing up. It's like, I don't want to be that guy.
But you also have said that like you're somebody who's like good in person. Like
Yes.
it's a lot easier for you to connect with somebody in person, which I that's my preferred way to meet people as well. Is like just because I don't know, the apps just feel very dehumanizing.
Yeah.
I think they're wonderful, but they're really really difficult, especially for men.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot easier for men to meet women in person. But
Yeah,
then
you
if
can't
you're
see that
not-
I'm 6'1", 230 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal on an app.
Yeah, you can't. They're not gonna like it.
They see me on an app and they just go, look at this chubby bastard.
But
I would
so
never.
If you're
Coming from the guy with abs.
ew, if you're good in person, but then you don't want to be a creep and you don't want to be the guy who's just like running up on a girl without any sort of like how are you doing it?
I don't.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Without alcohol,
Melvin's like,
Oh, okay. So it's okay.
without alcohol, because I'm sober now, and without an in, I can't. I literally can't. Like, and I don't use the word can't. If people who know me who listen to my podcast know, I hate the word can't. Like, my girlfriend throws can't around all the time. I go, no, you don't want to. Don't say can't. But literally, I had such a block. I could not do it.
That's the football coach in you.
I just couldn't. Yeah, it is. Nike's greatest campaign ever was winning is not for everybody during the Olympics.
that was great.
Dude, every time I saw it, I looked at Tracy and I go, see? Sometimes you're just mediocre. What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
The thing, Robin, my thing about being a man in your own head is what happens is you're sitting at the bar and you're seeing this girl and your head is going, fucking do it, talk to her, and you just don't.
Yeah,
and it's
And
this
then they walk
weird,
away.
crazy
Yeah.
block. And for all you know, they were like, why won't this guy talk to me?
Yeah.
Or why is he staring at me like this? Talk to her.
Yeah, it's 100% true. Like, I just wouldn't. And it was, but again, if the barrier to entry, if Julian were to introduce us,
That's different, yeah.
I'm
That's best
oh my
case
God,
scenario.
Where are you from? That's such an interesting accent, or whatever the fuck. But I'm listening, I'm responding, I'm paying attention. But without that intro, I'm frozen in fear.
Bars are tough. The best was always like a house party. If you know half people, they knew half
Because
people.
you know most of the people there,
Being
so
the
then
new
they
person.
could introduce you to new people.
You could use the same lines at a bar that you use at a house party, though.
Vessel?
Hey, yeah, the vessel one that's the one to go with. No, if you're like, hey, who do you know here?
Yeah, that's true. Come here often?
Hey, who do you know?
Who do you know here is funny? What else do you say at a house party? Where are they keeping the beers? Where's the fridge?
Have you seen the bathroom?
Yeah.
I gotta drop some kids off at the pool.
Are
Oh
you,
my God.
Are you gonna walk home alone later? That's a good one, right?
What time?
Right? It's an old Dane Cook joke. Just shout out to Dane. The whole reason I'm here. Only reason I got into comedy.
Speaking
Feels
of,
like a South Florida guy, is he?
No, not at all. He's from Massachusetts. He's a masshole.
Yankee.
No, he is from Massachusetts. He's from Massachusetts, North Shore, I think. Anyway, It was interesting because when I got on the apps, this is my first experience out. Now I'm 34, 35 on apps for the first time. And I'm sober, I'm in shape, and now I'm like, now we can rekindle the FAU years. Because I'm so, this is something I used to say all the time, but I'm not a tool, so I stopped saying it. I had never been sober, in shape, and relatively financially okay, like decently for a comic, like where I could go on a date and not freak out.
Yeah.
You could go to Outback with no concern.
Well, now I work at a much nicer steakhouse and I still get 50%
I'm sorry,
off.
nicer than Outback?
Actually, comes into play in this story. I'd never been all three things at once since I stopped playing college football. I could have been two, but I was never all three. So then I'm in New York, I'm single, I'm all three. The one-man show comes out, I'm living my life. It's a whole thing that's happening. So I start matching with people. The first person I match with on an app and have a conversation with, I won't say the name of it because I talk shit about it on my show, but I invite this girl, this woman, to my very expensive swanky steakhouse for a first date, which is so fucking stupid. For a first date.
Well, it's different than what is typical.
And that's what I thought. I was like, oh, I'll be different, I'll be unique, and I get 50% off, so what's the harm?
But it's an office, that's good. Okay, I get the benefit now.
Yeah, but also it's not on drinks, and I don't drink, so I don't think about these things. We get there, she starts ordering wine, which is not cheap at a swanky place that I work. Like our cheapest glass of wine is like $27, and she's not ordering the cheapest glass. And I have to pay full price for alcohol, so she starts ordering this and that. And at the time, I had just gotten an Amex. That's what I put the whole one-man show on, but there's not a limit on it. So I was like, no matter what happens, I'm covered. I'm going to be paying for this for the rest of my life. Still paying that dinner off, actually, 2.5 years later.
Thanks, Biden. No.
You know what? Did you see that interview where he goes, you know what I think? I think the bad things are from Biden's economy and the good things are from me. And I'm like, what are you, 7? What are you doing?
It was.
You're the leader of the free world.
I will say that is how we discuss whose dishes were left out. I'm like, I think the ones in the dishwasher were yours, they're mine, and the ones left out here covered in what I ate are yours.
That's great.
Anyway, so you take
Trumponomics.
exactly. I'm gonna do more Trump stuff in the bedroom. Anyway,
so I was the greatest you ever had. You said it. I heard you say it. So we go. I get the bill. It's astronomical, and then we go to Barcade after, which I'd never been to, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's cool. It's an arcade." I'm like, I'd much rather go to a Dave & Buster's, only because Barcade is like all these old school games.
Yeah, not even the fun
like,
ones.
Yeah, and they only have like 2 good ones, and there's a line for those. It's like, I'll go to Dave & Buster's and get in the Star Wars cockpit.
I gotta say, I think it is criminal how Dave & Buster's is considered like tacky when it's actually fucking
It's so
sick.
fun.
Love.
Yeah,
It's sick.
Love Dave. I go there with my nieces. We went there for Jared Waters had his birthday party there a couple of months ago.
We would have gone to that, Robin, but we were in Australia. But
That was fun.
I love Jared. Anyway,
Yeah, shout out Jared Waters, Tampa, Florida, in the building. So then she sends me a text the next day. Hey, because this is literally, like, I think I'm still living with my ex at the time. Because I wasn't moving out into my new place until February. We broke up in November. So I think this is like December, January. So there was a couple people, and so she sends me the text, hey, I don't think you're over your ex. You guys just broke up. You were together for 4 years. Like, this is weird. And I go, you could have told me this before. I just spent $400 on dinner.
Wait, did she said that after the first date?
Yeah, so we go on the first date. Everything's fine. I think everything's going well.
Did you talk about your ex during that first date? Where did that come from?
I think I did because
Okay,
I
all right.
think
Robin's
Probably
good.
from like
I
all
think I
the 2
talked
hours
about
that I
it all.
cried at Barcade.
No.
She's like, get me another wine.
No, like when we first sat down at the restaurant, we were talking because this is the other thing too that always trips me out. I am super interested in how people get to where they are.
Yeah.
So I will ask, we're both in our 30s. Why, like, what's going on?
single?
Why are you single? Why am I single? Like, because people get so, like, caught up about, like, oh, you can't talk about, like, whether it's race or gender or sex. I'm the kind of person where it's like, no, I'm pretty informed about stuff, and if I'm not, I would like to be informed, so please tell me your perspective on this. I'm obsessed with that. Even, like, and it's fun when you can, like, shoot people down with facts when they're being idiots, and it's also fun to get an enlightening perspective from someone else's side. So I'm very interested in asking. And I think in that, she had been like, well, what about you? And I was like, oh, well, me and my ex that I moved here with just broke up. You know, she had cheated, so we broke up. We're still living together, but I'm moving out like next month.
Okay, so this is what happened.
So-
You're like, we're still living together. She's
And
like,
then,
oh, this is a
so
little
her,
early.
the reason I was upset was You could have split the dinner with me and then been like, hey.
How soon in the dinner did that conversation come up? Pretty early?
Yeah, it was almost like we sat down and we started talking to get to know each other, and it was probably the third thing that came up.
I do think in that case, you kind of go, okay, I'm not going to be with this guy, so I'm just going to tone down the drinking. I'm just going to get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of here. Yeah.
But then she invited me to Barcade after.
Yeah.
So, and then after we had done all that stuff, then the next day, and to her point, she's absolutely right. I probably wasn't over my ex. It was just, I told other comic friends about this, and they go, you never go to dinner on a first date. It's coffee, then drinks, then on the third date, it's dinner.
I think you could start with drinks, but I do think...
But yeah, I mean, to each their own. But like, I didn't know this because I had gone from my ex-fiance, where we were together 4 years, to this next relationship, we're together for 4 years, to finally being single. And then that happens, and I'm like, okay, so it's just like, I'm like, coffees.
No, and I was also serial monogamous, got on apps at the age of 35, had no idea what I was doing, and I was like, I knew because I had talked to friends about this, like, don't go on a dinner date with a guy, like, first thing, because what if they're weird, and then you have to sit there for an hour. And then they're like mad because you ate, and like they're like, don't do that. But if I didn't have friends who told me that, I would have been of the mind of like, if you're not taking me to dinner, it's not even a date. Like,
yeah, exactly. That was my mindset too. Like,
some girls do think that, and they get upset when you.
My whole thing was like, if
gentlemen.
Yeah, we're gonna go out. This is going to be a thing that we're doing.
You pick me up at my home.
Yeah.
Okay, and that you definitely should do that in New York.
Exactly.
You ready to go? I'm out front. What the fuck?
But it's so different from like the dating that we grew up with.
100%. It was very odd to me. But then I pivoted, and then I was doing coffee dates and stuff. I met this one girl, and we kind of hit it off. And then I had matched with somebody else because, again, all three things at the same time. I'm out here. I'm running. I'm gunning. And then I end up matching on Hinge with my now girlfriend Tracy. And it was interesting because now at one point I'm dating, like going on dates with 3 different women, and I'm like, okay, like we'll figure, because this is what, it's so hard to get out of my head because immediately I go to, you're cheating, but it's like, no, you're not. You're not exclusive with any of these people. You can't shut yourself off from the rest of the world to figure out if this one person is right. That's ridiculous, especially at 35. It's like, you can go on multiple dates with multiple people. Just be honest, which is what I was doing.
Yeah, also, and in New York, because like if you're in a smaller town, like people are going to talk with people. But like in New York, it's just, it's like the assumption is that you're actually dating 100%. Others.
Yeah, and so then this is where the condom thing got brought up, and I was like, I don't know what that is. What are those? It's so funny because I tell this story on stage, but it's the funniest thing that ever happened. I remember, she's going to be so mad I said this story, but I remember Tracy opens her closet door once, and I look up and I go, for someone who's really adamant that I wear a condom, you sure have a lot of pregnancy tests. And she turns and looks at me and she goes, those are COVID tests. And I was like, oh, listen, I didn't even know those were a thing. I didn't even know that was real.
Yeah, I'm also against those, so.
She's like, wait, you're from Florida. Have you been vaccinated? And then I, when you go too hard into a bit, and I was like, of course, nobody's going to put anything in my body I don't know about. And went on this whole, I've been vaccinated, I got boosters, but I went on this whole rant of like, no, I'm dying on this hill now because this bit is hilarious to me. She kicks me out of the apartment. It was a whole thing. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
For saying you weren't vaccinated?
Yeah.
And then you got a text.
Well, because at the time.
What year is this?
This is 2 years ago when we first met.
This is a bit.
At the time, we showed up to the first date in a leather jacket, smoking a cigarette. I'm a comedian, so these are all red flags.
Yeah.
She's a teacher. She's like a very stable, well-to-do teacher. So I show up with all these red flags, and then we go on a couple dates. We're having a great time, and then I drop on like the 3rd or 4th date. I'm not vaccinated. I don't believe in COVID.
And you think she's got
as a bit, and she's like. She was like, she's like, I can't do the smoking and the comedian and the no steady income and you're like a COVID denier. She's like, I can't.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, I'm kidding. I pulled out my little sheet. I was like, I'm vaccinated.
She's like, look at this. Where did she go? Oh, Johnson & Johnson, get out of here. Gross.
But so then I have to make a choice because I'm dating all these people, well, 3. And Tracy says, if you want to see other people, that's fine, like understandable. But she's also of the mindset where, she's been on these apps too. She's, trying to find someone to share her life with. But she's just like, I don't want to waste my time. So just, figure out whatever you got to figure out. And I connected more with her than with anyone else. So I had to break it off with the other people. and it's interesting. Robin, I'd love to get your perspective on this. People say all the time, especially women on the apps, just tell me the truth.
Yeah.
I just want to know the truth. If we go on a couple of dates and it's going great, don't ghost me. Give me the dignity and the self-respect to be like, listen, I don't think this is going to work out. So I say all that to say this to your listeners. I tried to break up with this one woman because I said, listen, I just don't think things are going to work out. We work opposite schedules. I don't think it's going to work out. And she then proceeded to say, well, I'm glad you didn't get me pregnant because we were having sex without condoms because I'd get an abortion. You're a terrible person.
What the fuck?
You led me on. This has only been like a month. You've led me on.
This is the nice girls on Reddit.
Like it was like a nuclear explosion of like,
she's just crazy.
like I just cheated on her after we had dated for 10 years. And I was like, no, I'm being honest. I'm telling you, I don't feel the connection. I don't think this is going to work out.
Wrong.
And she like lost it. But then it was kind of one of those like, oh, I actually got out of a relationship before it even started. Because in the past, I would stay in those because I was just well, this is what it is. So I actually like stood up for myself and I was like, no, I don't want to be in this. I'm not going to be in this.
Like, this sucks.
Yeah. And then Tracy and I became exclusive. Now we live together. And it's all thanks to Hinge. So big shout out to Hinge.
Us too.
Yeah. Hinge is the thing. It's weird though, because and you know this from my bits, but I always wanted the story. Like when I met my ex-fiance, I remember seeing her and going, I'm going to marry that girl one day. And we were engaged. And that's a story to tell people. And then with Tracy, obviously I love her to death, but I'm always brainstorming with her. I'm like, let's not say Hinge. Let's think of, there's a rally. Something, you're pro this, I'm pro that, the Capulets and the Montagues. Yeah.
We were going to kill each other, but then we fought.
Then we fell in love. Yeah.
You know how that ends, no? You know how that ends, do you not?
Oh, I'm very aware how that ends.
Yeah, okay. Jesus. Although they took poison. Sorry, just to be clear. It's kind of a big deal.
Self-harm jokes, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all part of it.
You can't say it into the microphone, so you just use visual aids.
Yeah, that's right. All
you people out there talk about being broken. I'm B about it.
That's right. Well, you have to watch. This is why you watch the video.
So just side note, I know we got to wrap it up. It's always so funny to me when comics are like, I'm depressed and anxious. And I'm always like, yeah, prove it. Prove it.
Proof.
I got the scar on my forehead? That's a crazy story.
Can I tell it? We fought. Okay.
No, I did get into a fight with a teammate, and to go back to that not getting bullied anymore, I ripped his shirt. Long story short, he said, give me the money for the shirt. I said, I didn't have it. He slapped me in the face and said, give me my money, bitch. So I pulled out a knife, and I said, I got your money right here. My teammates grabbed me, and I took the knife and I put it in my forehead, and I went, I'll fucking kill you.
That is an ending move. Yeah. That's like fight over.
Oh, yeah. He turned around and was like, Tassef, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
also, like, your forehead bleeds a lot.
Yeah, especially if you mix it with alcohol. Your face bleeds a lot. It's a defense mechanism.
Everyone's like, do we stop him from doing it to himself? Is that?
And it was so funny because the next day, so I had, in the bit, I was telling the story on stage for a while, but then I realized people were laughing out of nervousness, not because it was funny. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I had 22 cuts on my, because I was like, And I walk into football practice the next day, and my coach comes up to me and he goes, Tassef, what happened to your face? And I lied. I said, I got drunk and fell into a bush at Lockley's party. And that's when he goes, we actually heard what happened, and we need that kind of intensity on this team.
Jesus Christ.
It was rewarded behavior back then.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, he goes, next, save it for the field, Tassef. We probably should cut it off. Normally it's been fun.
What do you guys do, an hour?
Normally an hour, but we went over it because we're having a fun time. Hour 15, but that's fine.
That's not crazy over.
No. Mostly because I'm lazy and don't like editing long things. But thank you so much.
Wait, do you go through and edit this piece by piece?
Sometimes. I go through and find clips.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which just takes a while.
Opus, baby.
Yeah, let's not talk shop in front of the AI.
Sorry.
In front of the AI that's going to blackmail us.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Join us next week here on...
Where can we find you?
At Brennan T Comedy on all social media. Brennan T Comedy. When is this coming out?
Probably 5 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
BrennanTComedy.com. You can check me out. 5 weeks. I'll be in Denver in September. I'll be in Texas in June, so we might be able to get this out in time. Maybe not. But Denver, September on the Bro Jason Tour featuring for the great Matt Fulcheron at the Comedy Lounge. Get tickets at BrennanTComedy.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We will catch you all next time.
Boom.